Hello everyone, I'm Ben Jammer from Jammer Studios. I hope you're all having a great day. In today's video, I'm going to be going over two UI things. I was messing around with my game, trying to figure out some UI changes that I could make, and I stumbled upon two things that can make your UI in your game look great. So if you like today's video, please like and subscribe. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, or even ideas about future episodes that you guys would like to see, I would be happy to make those videos out for you. But in today's video, we're going to be talking about the text. Labels here are the nodes, and about the texture recs. Now, they're not specifically texture recs, but I'll get into that. That will be the second one we go over. The first one we're going to go over is the labels themselves. So, with a label, you can have fonts. If you don't have fonts, that's okay. You can just ignore this part of the video, specifically because the fonts need to be filtered. If you have used labels before, you understand that when you put the font in, the text actually comes out a little grainy, but there is a way to make it pop a little more. Not just with colors or anything, but make it look crispy as you see right here. So we're going to select our label here. We're going to scroll down to where we see theme overrides, and we're going to we can close colors here, theme overrides, and we want to go to fonts. Now it won't have all of this stuff, so you want to select font, go here to the drop down box, and when you select the drop down box, you're going to see new bitmap, new dynamic, and over here is stuff if you've already have fonts like these two specifically, you can load in those resources that you've saved previously. But you want to go ahead and do the new dynamic font for any new label that you have that you want to add a font to it, a specific font. So if you do that, you can then click on the dynamic font right here, and it will drop with these four drop-down menus. This is where you're going to then add your custom font that you want, and you can get this off of the internet. You just can search it up and download those. So when we go into font after clicking dynamic font, we'll go to font again, and font data is where we would then drop in our custom specific font that we want to use for this label. You go to quick load, and those are the ones that you've downloaded so far. These are the ones that I have downloaded before. And I already have one selected, so that's great. We can then leave the font tab altogether and just go to settings. Here you can change the size, you can add an outline and change the outline color and size. You can use bitmaps, but the use filter button is the one that you're gonna want to highlight, and this would actually make your font look crispy, because if this is not a good one to use for, because it did nothing there. But this will have your font look crispy. If you don't have it, it's going to look a little grainy. The only way to get past that graininess is to have an overly sized font. So if you have one close to 100, some number around there, then you're not going to have as much graininess. If you have a 1-for-1 scale and it's a small size, then you're going to have some graininess. So if we move here, we got a size of 40 for our font. You can see that it does change a little bit. It's a little worse quality without that filter. So if we go ahead and change that filter back, now it's right back to being crisp, nice looking. And that's what you can do with making your font look a little better. So we'll move on to the next part of this, which is the texture rect. Now, I use texture rects in the past, but I always knew that there was a way, and I couldn't figure it out, and I didn't really realize the node that you can stretch the sides of these blocks that you have here, of the backgrounds, but still keep the corners just like they are. Now you don't do this with a texture rect, you do this with a 9Patch Rect. Yes, a 9Patch Rect. So if you have, so you could see that mine's labeled texture rect. That's because it was previously a texture rect, and I just right clicked that, went to change type, and then went to the 9Patch Rect and selected that. It then changed it to a 9Patch Rect node, and you're not going to see immediate change to it right away because the 9Patch Rect will have the entire thing in it, so it's not going to change. So what you have to do is come down to the bottom here where you see texture region. So if we go ahead and pull that up, bring this to the middle, and we can see that we do in fact have 9 patches of regions here. So these sides, the dashed lines here, were on the outside. Once you change it, you'll see it. And you would just go ahead and move them inside, and I have messed it up a little bit, but here, I'll give you a good example. I'm going to change it back to a texture rect. Then I'm going to change it to a 9 texture rect. And you can see that we have dashed lines all across the center here. So if we go ahead, we can move these inside, and as we do, we can see that the side here is now not stretched. We'll do the exact same thing on the other side. Now this side's not stretched, and we do want to be able to stretch this little portion here, just not the corners. In order to do that, we got to do the top and bottom. Now you can see that there are subtle changes as I do this. Now they're not being stretched anymore, and that's specifically the corners, because the 9Patch region or rect will now stretch just these sides here, not the corners at all. The corners will stay as they are, and I can even show you this when we exit the texture region. We can then make it as big as we want, and it will still keep the corners just as is. Does not matter. The corners will still stay the same. So we learned how to make our text crispy, and we learned how to keep our corners on our little boxes to keep everything a little organized and looking pretty. So you guys have information about how the small little changes that really make the UI look great. So if you like today's video, please think about liking and subscribing. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, or any other future ideas you'd like to see about how to do it, write them down in the comment section below. With that, you guys have a great rest of your day. I hope you enjoy it. This has been Ben Jammin from Jammin Studios.